All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Dave Hunsinger. I'm Director of Sales here at Specialized Business Solutions, and welcome to this Thursday, November 14th, 2013 edition of Keystroke Live. It's a cool but beautiful sunny day here in Colorado. Got lots of ski resorts open right now. We are going to talk about end-of-year procedures. And just so you all remember, every Thursday, same login information. I will try to remember to remind you at the end too, but on Thanksgiving, we're not going to have Keystroke Live, as well as the day after Christmas and day after New Year's in December. So first, about the end of year procedures, to let you know, each year about beginning first couple weeks of December, we send out an email first to dealers and then to end users, kind of saying, here's some hints on things that we would recommend to do at the end of the year. Just kind of a nice reminder that some of these are things to think about, and also an opportunity for you dealers to hopefully make a little money helping out end users with their end of year procedures. At the top of the list there, I have inventory value and accounts receivable. What those are in Keystroke, the reporting, those are absolute reports. When you run them, they're as of this day, this minute, right now. So running an inventory value report, which is a inventory database totals report, gives you the exact value of the inventory. And somebody might want to know that for, hey, what was my value on 12/31/13, so that they can look at that going forward. Same thing with accounts receivable. It's a live report. It gives you the accounts receivable value that day, that time, right now. So those two reports are both good to run at the end of the year, so that you have that number of what my inventory value was and what my receivables were. If I switch over to Keystroke to just kind of give you an idea, and I'm going to go to the report manager and look at inventory and then database. The important thing is I can do totals with markup or totals with profit, but these totals do what it says, total up the value of your inventory. And you'll see when I run this report, it doesn't ask me for a date range. It doesn't do much. It just runs the report and gives me, hey, the cost total of my inventory is $16,000 and the price total is $31,000. And that is as of 11/14/13 at 9:03 p.m. So this is that absolute report. There are ways of backing out the information, but running the report is the easiest way to do that. And the other report that I talked about was the sales receivables. I typically like the aging. And here I've got this set up that I'm just printing customers that have a balance due. So when I run that report, there they are. I've got $2,040 due right now. So this is the tutor data, so there's not a lot out there. But you again see there's not a date range. You don't get a slice of time. It's just what people owe you right here, right now. Get the total of finance charges and the money due. So both of those reports are good to run on a end-of-year basis. Sales tax is another thing that often changes January 1st, July 1st. Great thing about Keystroke is you could go in today and make sales tax changes for January 1st and even for July 1st, 2014, if you know they're coming. So because we use date ranges with the sales tax, it's very easy to change a sales tax rate. I'm going to switch back to Keystroke here just to give you a look at that. And I'm going to go to the Configuration Manager. and look at tables, tax, tables, and I'm just going to look at my standard state local, my state local district. And in here I've got all this set up, but if I look at just T-taxable 7.75%, you see it started at the beginning of time and it ended in February of 2011. So if I look down my list, I have another taxable, went to 8.25% on January 3rd, 2011, and that's kind of till the end of time. Well, let's say now it's going to go up to 9%. So in this current one, I come in here and I say it's going to end on 12/31/13. So I know everything before that was charged the 8.25%. Then I'm just going to hit insert and add one for T-taxable, and we'll call it 9%. And it's going to start on 1/1/14 and end 12/31/30. That's just kind of the end of time. And so now, if I go down to the bottom, I have this other taxable for 9%. So I can go ahead and save that. And if I go to the sales manager, you see that the tax rate comes up as 8.25% because we're in November of 2013. And children, don't try this at home, but if I future date this invoice, you see it's going to change the tax rate to 9%. So it remembers what the tax rate was and then what the tax rate is. So it's easy to do. It's easy to set up in advance. Easy to set up in advance of the tax rate change. You don't have to show up at your client's site at 6 o'clock in the morning on January 1st. You can get that taken care of ahead of time. I want to mention database maintenance, and Keystroke does have a database pack rebuild function. You don't really need to run it unless we've encountered a problem, or the other time would be is if you deleted a whole lot of inventory items or customers. By packing it, it would remove all those deleted records and condense it quite a bit. But if you've only got few records deleted here and there, you should never really have to pack. It also does rebuild the index. So when I say that, if I go back to my keystroke, when I hit insert here, this list box is pretty much the inventory index. It's the indexed fields. If you look at this and these descriptions are out of alphabetical order, packing will put them back in order. But really, the important things would be, when I talk about database maintenance, would be for these records, you see there are a total purchased and total sold here. And some people like to reset those so those are year to date. Really, those are counting fields. Keystroke, just every time you purchase an item, every time you sell it, it increases that quantity. So that's really from the beginning of time, unless you reset it at a point in time. Beginning of year is a good time to do that. You can do that resetting. If I'm going to go to the database manager here, select inventory, edit, and just pick any item. Now you see I can't get into those fields. That's because of we've set the security level so they don't get changed. So to do a search and replace, we have to open them up so that we have access to those fields. And that's under Setup and Default. And here it's going to show me Edit Mode for Inventory, main screen. I bring that up. I simply go down to this field. In the bottom message bar here, it says F3 to edit security. I hit F3, it's set to -1. I can just change it to 0. Same thing with total sold. Hit F3, change it to 0. hit F10 to save it, hit F10 to save that, ask me if I want to save, I say okay. Now I can go to find, search and replace. This search screen is what I'm looking for. If I leave it blank, that's going to match all items. It says search down here in the bottom right corner. I can just hit F10 or page down. Now it's what I want to replace. I want to put a 0 in total purchase and a 0 in total sold. Now I hit F10 or page down. Now if I'm helping a customer over the phone, I always say answer yes to this question. It comes up, found stock number 1. It asks me update this record in the bottom left corner, yes, no, or all. I see total purchase is 20, total sold is 1, cost is $9.45, base is 20. So I'm just going to hit yes. Now what I'm going to do is hit escape to get out of what I'm doing, say cancel search. And here I know I can just hit page up to get to record number 1. Still $9.45 cost, still $20 base, but my total purchase and total sold are 0. So I can look at it and say, heck yeah, it's doing exactly what I want. That's what I want going on. So now I can just easily go back to find, search and replace. Just hit F10 or page down. It's going to have what I want to replace there. Just hit F10 or page down. Then I say no, and then it's going to whip through my database and change everything. So I say no, searches through the records, 126 records updated. Now I can go back to setup and default, select my edit mode, come down here, hit F3, change it back to -1, hit F3, change it back to -1, hit F10 a couple of times to save it, and now you see I can't get in those fields, but they've been reset to 0. Likewise, with customer records, they have this total purchases. Again, that's a running total. So it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And some people like that because they know, okay, over the course of the life of this customer, this is how much they purchased. But if you want to reset it at the beginning of the year, you can do the same thing for customers and vendors. So that's kind of database maintenance. Data backup, I can talk forever about data backup, but there are 2 very important things about data backup. These are my 2 big things about backup. Number 1, do it. Number 2, check it. So if you know you're backing up data and before you have a crisis, if you've gone in and restored a backup, so that you know what you're getting, you know how it works, that makes everything so much easier. Do it and check it, and you're pretty good. There are so many different ways to back up now. I do backup some via the cloud offline. I've got USB hard drives that I just plug in and copy entire hard drive contents to them. There's mirrored drives, there are RAID backup, there is scheduled, we do a scheduled backup about 4 times a day here, just because when we're dealing with Keystroke, a lot of times we have pre-release software. We might use it for 3 hours and say, oh boy, this is really messing everything up, and then we can just go back 3 hours and start again. So, you know, I've got a batch file that copies into directories and cascades the directories. I'll do a backup to DVD and put one in the safe or put one in the safety deposit box every so often, just in case there's a huge crisis. I do have something to go back somewhere. So getting something off site, getting something fairly regular so it's recent, but it's just you got to do it and check it. And we probably get, maybe not that many, but 2 calls a month of people who have had a power failure or a computer crash or a break-in and their computer stolen, and they just don't, they have, I have a backup, but I think it's about 8 months old. So having that is a great security, good thing to do. Also a good revenue stream from your customer because it's something you can set up for them. You can even sell them online or cloud backups and make a commission on it through some businesses, but it's another great value add. And lastly here, I have update Keystroke and update other software. It's a great time of year to be thinking about what versions you're on, how your computer is. You can update hardware for customers as well, or just assess it and say, hey, we're going to have to do this in the next year. It's a good thing to look at. And if you haven't looked at it yet, I'm going to switch over. This is the Keystroke Update Installer. It's part of your Keystroke POS program group when you install Keystroke. And you can run a full install that downloads the about 90 megabyte full setup, or the patch update that it says 5 megabytes. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 7. It's about 5 each time. The way this works, I believe, I forget if it's 6 or 8. If you're 6 or 8 patches behind, it won't try to patch. It'll just go and grab the full install and install it, because it takes about the same amount of time anyway. But you can run this. If you want to, you can delete it out of your customers program group so they don't mess around with it. We try not to. We have made it easier to update, but part of our thinking is we don't want people to just update automatically in the middle of the day. So this allows people to update, when they want to. With, let me see if I can. Hopefully you can still hear me. See if I can get rid of some of that buzzing. But you can update whenever you need to, and it's easier than running update or going and running the full install, but it's still not happening automatically. You can delete this out of the program group if you need to. Remember, I'm not big on having automatic updates turned on in Windows, especially like on my 2008 server, because sometimes we have come in the morning and stuff doesn't work because something got downloaded automatically overnight. So what we do is monthly or quarterly, I'll go and look and do a backup, run the updates, make sure everything still works, and then go on from there. So checking Windows, virus software, security, that's all part of PCI DSS. Remember, if somebody ever has a breach, that's the first thing they're going to look at. What version of Windows are you on? What version of POS software are you on? Is it the latest? Do you have passwords? That kind of thing is all. They want to check all that. I think they call it the spirit of PCI, that you're trying to act in the spirit of PCI. They say you can get all the validating you want to one day, and the next day, if you open up access on your wireless router, you're completely out of compliance again. And they often look, are you trying to live it day to day? So just some things to look at. I am going to switch back to my PowerPoint. So that was run the absolute reports, get the sales tax set up if you need to. You can reset some of those fields in the database manager. Be sure you're doing backup, and updating Keystroke and other software is a good way of doing things. So that is what I have. The one glaring thing missing from all of this is variance, getting the right quantity on hands in Keystroke. And Lynn is going to cover that in an entire session next week. And the important thing to remember about variance, I always say, is a correct quantity is better than a wrong quantity, and no matter how you get it, whether you're using variance or manually changing it, getting those correct quantities in there, especially to start a year, can make for very happy customers. With that, I am going to unmute everyone, and if you have any questions, let me know. You can hear me, right?
Hey, Dave, actually, I've got a quick question for you.
Okay, that sounds like Ephraim.
That's me. I'm not sure if it's just me and I don't get the emails or I just don't see them, but when you guys do updates or patch, releases for the software, do the dealers get emailed every time? Because, I mean, I think that would be kind of a great way to get more revenue from our customers, especially those that pay us by the hour.
Yeah, we do not. We post it in the dealer area and on the website. If there is a critical problem that we're fixing, we send an email to let people know that, hey, this got fixed and it's part of the release. But for every release, we don't always do it. We did just do it for this last one because we have, for dealers only, the Express POS is available in version 7.15, build 38. So it's not a totally consistent thing, but it is on the website, and if we have fixed a big problem, we send out an announcement.
Got it. Thanks.
Any other questions? I will. Thanks for being here. Again, we'll meet at 9 a.m. next week, and we have end of year, the variants with Lynn. So everybody have a great Thursday and good weekend.